Welcome back to Chatbots Behaving Badly, the podcast where we pull back the pixelated curtain on generative AI and ask, what the hell am I looking at? Written by Markus Brinsa, narrated by Andrew Foley. We talk about the weird, the broken, and the just plain lazy things that happen when generative AI meets the real world. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been haunting the internet with a smile and 12 fingers: AI-generated images. Don't worry, we're not just talking about bad AI images. We're going deeper. Why does AI keep giving us women with 12 fingers and flawless skin, but can't generate a normal-looking man to save its circuits? Why is every AI-rendered wristwatch forever stuck at 10 past 10? Why do most people see the flaws, but scroll right past them? This episode is about bad data, biased brains, and the strange things we're willing to forgive when the AI gets close enough to what we want. If you've ever scrolled through LinkedIn and thought, wow, this photo looks just a little off, you're not alone. But the uncanny isn't just a fluke, it's baked in. Let's start with the basics. You type in a prompt. The AI gives you a shiny image. Maybe it's a model in a sunset. Maybe it's a watch ad. Maybe it's a brand new CEO portrait for someone who never existed. You marvel for a second until you notice the hand. One finger too many. A thumb that looks like it tried to escape the wrist and failed. AI image generators are not artists. They don't create. They synthesize, predicting what an image should look like based on patterns in their training data. And that data? It's scraped from the internet. Billions of image caption pairs, most of them commercial, algorithm-friendly, and very, very repetitive. These glitches aren't just bugs. They're symptoms of a larger issue: how these models are trained. The training truth. Text-to-image models are trained on gigantic datasets. Millions of captioned images scraped from the web. Think stock photos, e-commerce listings, fashion ads, product placements, you name it. And this is where things get messy. You've probably heard the saying garbage in, garbage out. But in this case, it's more like bias in, distortion out. The internet is saturated with very specific types of images: idealized, commercialized, and almost always female. Most online training images fall into two categories: products and people. But not just any people, women, and often in revealing poses. It's what stock photo sites sell. It's what Instagram promotes. It's what the algorithm loves. So when AI builds its idea of human, it leans female and leans hard into sexualized archetypes. The AI doesn't know what a human body should look like. It knows what got the most engagement, and that's a very different thing. That's why it's so much easier for these models to generate perfect images of women than of men. There are simply more examples in the training data, especially in categories like fashion, beauty, and fitness. Add a prompt like attractive woman in a dress, and the model's basically swimming in reference material. Ask for realistic man in casual wear, and it's guessing based on 5 random photos and 3 pixelated yearbook shots from 2004. But here's where it gets creepy. The psychology of shrugging at glitches. You show someone an image of a beautiful AI-generated woman with 12 fingers, melted jewelry, and an elbow that's trying to lick itself. And you know what most people say? Yeah, but look at the outfit. There's a strange psychological tolerance here. As long as the image is suggestive enough, people let go of logic. The moment the picture taps into some part of the brain that says, attractive, we're surprisingly willing to forgive horrifying anatomy. We don't just tolerate flawed images. We prefer the ones that trigger emotion over logic, especially when they cater to desire. In psychology, this is called motivated perception. We see what we want to see. AI images of women are often laced with just enough sexuality to override the cognitive dissonance. You know the anatomy's off, but your brain files it under close enough. And let's be honest, most of this tolerance is gendered. Men don't care if the AI babe has one eye and a butterfly wing for a spine, as long as she's hot. Nobody's zooming in on her toes. They're zooming in somewhere else. But let's pivot to something a bit more subtle and honestly, a lot more eerie. Have you ever noticed that AI-generated watches always show 10 past 10? That's not a coincidence. It's an echo. In traditional advertising, watches are set to 10 past 10 because the hands frame the brand name. It's marketing 101. Those images flood catalogs, ads, and e-commerce sites. So when an AI is trained on image caption pairs, especially commercial ones, it doesn't learn what time is. It just learns that watch equals 10 past 10. So when you ask AI to generate a new watch, it defaults to the statistically most common image. The 10 past 10 face isn't a design choice. It's a digital superstition. The myth of the one-click masterpiece. Let's stop pretending that great AI images come from typing a clever prompt and hitting the enter key. They don't. Here's the truth. The best images are post-processed, photoshopped, manually corrected, or generated with a series of test prompts by really patient maniacs who've been refining the same prompt all week with hundreds of iterations. What you see on Pinterest or product mockups as AI-generated is more like 20% prompt, 80% polish. It's not magic. It's manual labor. And finally, let's not forget the text problem. AI can render entire cathedrals from scratch, but give it the task of putting the word sale on a banner, and you'll get something like S41E7. Why is that? Because text to these models is just another texture, not a sequence of characters. Until we have models that incorporate true text reasoning or are paired with actual language models that understand writing, this problem won't go away. You'll just keep getting those hilarious, unreadable restaurant signs in AI-generated cityscapes. That's not a minor bug. It's a fundamental gap. So what does this leave us? AI-generated images aren't evil. They're just misunderstood and often misrepresented. They're trained on biased data, they struggle with logic, and they exploit our psychological blind spots. AI-generated images are flawed not just because of what they produce, but because of how we respond to them. We let biased models slide because they cater to biased brains. We tolerate visual garbage as long as it strokes the right neural strings. The problem isn't that AI makes women with 12 fingers. The problem is that most people don't care as long as she's wearing heels. That's it for this episode of Chatbots Behaving Badly. If you enjoyed the ride, or if you just realize your AI headshot has 2 left ears, subscribe, rate, and share. We've got new episodes every Tuesday, diving into the strange habits of generative AI and the even stranger habits of the people using it. This was the dirty truth behind text-to-image, written by Markus Brinsa, narrated by Andrew Foley. Until next time, keep prompting, but keep your eyes open.